Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Women in Business International Summit. It's so lovely to see you again. I hope you all enjoyed yesterday. It was such a fantastic lineup of ladies. Already got people joining us. I see. Hello, Megan from Australia. Thank you for joining us. We've got another fantastic lineup today. So make sure that you tune in. We've got Samantha Colclough with us at the moment. Hello. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, very well, thank you. I'm very excited about your talk. I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping before, just to remind everybody that, of course, this is all for charity for Best Beginnings, and thank you so much for all your donations so far. You've all given so generously. There is another little donate button in the bottom corner, a button in the bottom corner of your screen. So if you fancy donating a little bit more, that's how you can do it. And so anyway, lovely. So today we have Samantha Colclough to start off the morning. She is a mindset expert. She is a qualified psychotherapist, a hypnotherapist, and a mindfulness teacher. And we're going to talk today about building confidence through hypnosis and visualization. And we are also going to finish the session with a kind of a 15-minute or so guided visualization with Samantha, which is just such a fantastic way to start a Friday morning. I'm sure you all agree. So that is really something to look forward to. So I'll keep an eye on the time. Please comment in the box as we go along. Anything that strikes you, any questions that you have, I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat box, and I'll be able to put any questions to Samantha as we go along. But welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So the mind, this is a subject that I've been reading up so much about recently. I don't know about the ladies listening, but it just seems to be such a buzz subject at the moment. Every problem you have, it seems to be, oh, that's because your money mindset, or that's because of your, whatever mindset. Yeah. And so I find it really fascinating. But the thing is, our minds are things that we tend to kind of let tick along and look after themselves, and yet we're so aware of looking after our bodies, or by eating right or exercising, but we just leave our minds alone. Why is it so important that we give them a bit more love and a bit more attention?
Well, you've hit the nail on the head. It is one of the things that we neglect, and probably one of the most important things that we need to look after. Our minds are the things that stand between us and our dreams, our achievements, what we want to do in life. And if we're not in the right place mentally, we're unable to achieve everything that we want to achieve. However, if we kind of switch the polarity around on that and put our minds in the best possible health space, I suppose, from a mindset point of view, we can quite literally achieve anything that we want to achieve. So whether that's creating the business of your dreams, doing something you've never done before, losing weight, overcoming relationship problems, if our mind is in the right space, we can pretty much overcome absolutely anything. So it's crucially important to put ourselves in a position where we're looking after our minds, just in the same way as we, go to the gym to lose weight, just as the same way we put healthy food in our body to have our bodies full of nutrition. We can't expect to not go to the gym and not eat healthily and still stay in shape. And the same is true for our minds. We can't expect to neglect our minds and then it work in the best possible way for us to live our lives the way we should and live our lives as the best versions of ourselves.
It's interesting because this is something that you learned through experience, isn't it? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to becoming a psychotherapist and hypnotherapist?
Absolutely. So it actually started with my mother. So at the age of 11, I became a young carer for her, and she was diagnosed with manic bipolar depression and schizophrenia. So from the age of 11, I became a young carer for her. And obviously a lot of my childhood years and teenage years were spent looking after someone with severe mental illnesses. So I saw firsthand how debilitating the mind can be. And it was also, as I got, obviously at such a young age, I didn't understand it fully, but as I got older, you kind of evolve your way of thinking around mental illness. And I started to become very, very frustrated at the fact that there wasn't enough done from the point of view of people being able to use their minds in the correct way to overcome mental illnesses. So it was very easy for my mum to go to the doctors, be prescribed SSRIs and any other medication that she needed to take, and just be left to her own devices to kind of muddle on through. And the lack of education around, if she was to do certain things on a day-to-day basis and incorporate that habitually in her life, she actually probably would have been in a position where she was far more mentally stable, you know, for a longer period of time. So I started to become quite aware of those kind of things. And obviously through my childhood, I became quite an anxious person. I had my spells of depression with my childhood. And I kind of formed those inappropriate behavioural experiences and templates. I was quite a controlling person. I think, you know, when you live with someone with manic bipolar depression and it's not normal to go home after school and find them either in hospital because they've, you know, tried to overdose, or they're still on the floor because they've taken an overdose, you kind of form that, you know, security blanket that you feel like you need to control situations. So I was very aware of that impact that it had on me mentally as well. And as I got older, I kind of learned to deal with my anxiety, but I never really sought any professional help. Then at the age of, I think I was 26, I can't quite remember now, but I moved to a new area. I'd been with my partner for 18 months. I fell pregnant and was in quite a happy place. And she unexpectedly passed away at 5 months pregnant. And I just crashed again, you know, everything that I had been through, all of those fears, feelings, anxiety, depression just came swamping back. And I suppose I was very conscious at that point that I didn't want to put my son in the same position that my mum had put me for all of those years. So I was very conscious that I needed to get a grip of my mindset and needed to get a grip of it quickly before he was born. So I looked at alternative therapies. I didn't want to go down the medication route because I knew kind of how damaging that was. And I looked into counselling, CBT, NLP, and I came across a woman who did solution-focused hypnotherapy. And that basically included a hybrid of NLP, CBT, solution-focused brief work, mindfulness, and hypnosis. And in a matter of, I think, 6 sessions, she was able to completely reframe how I viewed the world, my thought processes, just everything. It was a complete and utter transformation. And because of that transformation that I experienced, as soon as my son was born, I was already working in a job that I absolutely hated. And I was like, I've got to go into this profession. So at 3 months old, I signed up, started to study, and then qualified as a clinical psychotherapist and hypnotherapist to really help change the lives of women worldwide that kind of suffer with these confidence issues and anxiety issues, because the world is a much better place when we're the best versions of ourselves.
And the mind is, as you say, something that is so neglected. And I think the other thing is that I've discovered reading up about it is that if you let it run unchecked, it can actually be sabotaging you and you don't even realize that it is. So it's really, really fascinating stuff. So I think people think to themselves, gosh, you know, I'm already thinking about my diet, I'm already thinking about, you know, work, I'm thinking about trying to fit my exercise in. How do I fit in looking after my mind as well? And I'm assuming it doesn't have to be time consuming. I mean, how can you incorporate that kind of wellness and mindful wellness into your everyday life?
Absolutely. And it doesn't need to be time consuming at all. I mean, some of the things that you've mentioned are already kind of part of the course for looking after our mindset. You know, in order to kind of create that constant flow of serotonin, which is that feel-good chemical, we need to have a lower level of stress on a day-to-day basis. And we need to incorporate what I like to call the 3 Ps, which is positive activity. So people that all in the mindset of going to the gym and eating healthily are kind of one step closer to that anyway. Positive thinking and positive interaction. So they're kind of things that you can incorporate on obviously on a day-to-day basis without it taking any extra time out of your day than what you're already doing. But in terms of the actual hypnosis piece or meditation, whichever you find you're more aligned with, my hypnosis MP3s are listened to when my clients go to bed at night. So they literally plug it in, put their earphones in, and they go to sleep listening to my hypnosis sessions. So it doesn't impact the day. It hasn't got to, take any more time out of our busy lives. It can just be incorporated into what you already do.
Yeah, so it's and so day to day you can just do things that kind of lift your vibrations. I suppose people who kind of know that kind of thing, like being with people you love and thinking and feeling more positive thoughts and feelings. But then the kind of I actually do kind of not hypnosis but like visualization before bed or listen to meditation before bed, and I sleep so well afterwards. It's a really fantastic thing to include in your day. So obviously you now had lots of clients and worked with so many people in transforming their mindsets, and today we wanted to specifically talk about confidence, which I think is something that all women have to work on at one time or another. I mean, do you find it's something more common, a lack of confidence is more common in women than men, or is that not?
Hugely, yeah. I mean, it's one of the biggest issues that women suffer with, especially in general, but in female entrepreneurship as well. The lack of confidence in women is so rife, and it boils down to men don't care as much. They're very pragmatic, they're very practical, and they see the outcome, whereas we care about all of the intricate details leading up to that. I don't know whether you've ever seen the Denise Duffield YouTube video that she does, but she talks about how men sell, and it encapsulates how we think so beautifully. But if I was a man talking to a man, I'd be like, hey, this is a really cool pen, you can write with it, it's blue, do you want it? And you're like, yeah, that's cool, I'll buy that pen, no problem. And they both go away, living their lives as normal. But woman to woman, before I even go and try and sell you this pen, I'm going to be like, ugh, is she going to want it? Does she like it? Is it the right colour for her? Is it the right colour for me? Do I need to lose a stone before I go and sell this pen? Because I need to look good to sell, But she might like it, but then what if she wants to give it back to me? Oh, I don't know whether it's going to help her write what she wants to write. that is how women work. We think about so many little details that in the grand scheme of things don't matter. So, of course, when we start thinking that way, we then start to affect our own confidence in the way that we think, because we're creating all of these limiting beliefs and all of these objections before they've even come up, because it's within our own mind. I don't know whether you could think that this pen is absolutely awesome before I've even opened my mouth, but we self-sabotage through our own confidence. And I think that's just such a beautiful summary as to how men don't suffer as much and women do.
Constantly worrying about what impact we're going to have on other people's lives. We don't have enough confidence that we have value to offer. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, we think about, for women that are doing Facebook Lives, and this is something that comes up so frequently in my arena, they're scared to put themselves out there because they're worried about being judged. They're worried about how people are going to perceive them. They're worried about how they look. They're worried about whether they're going to come across boring. They're worried about so many things. And I was listening, I'm very big on motivational YouTube videos and listening to as much as I can. And there's a guy called Les Brown, and he said, if there's no enemy within, there can be no enemies on the outside. Because if we rid ourselves of all of those self-critiques that we go through on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, because we don't care, because we haven't got the enemy inside anymore. It's how worried we are to put ourselves forward with the confidence that we have.
I suppose so. You must have seen some real transformations in people's businesses and personal lives. Can you give some examples of how it changes, building this confidence, how it can change your approach to your business and everything, really?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of women that get into business, firstly, we need to salute every woman that kind of looks to set up their own business and make the world a better place, because, you know, there's not enough of us. But in terms of the transformation, when we first set up business, because we're so emotionally led, we worry about so many things. We worry about whether we're delivering the right message, whether we are coming across the right way, whether our business is going to serve the right people. And because we kind of worry about all of those things, we start to lose clarity, we start to lose focus, we have real confidence issues on the way that we should be running our business, and then we come to a complete and utter standstill. So when I work with my clients, they're often coming to me because they're coming from a place of no self-worth, not really feeling like they're good enough for the job. They don't feel confident enough to step out and do the things that they're so wonderful at doing. So I very much kind of take them on an 8-week journey, and just, I mean, on a subconscious level, we look at it, eliminating those negative templates and behavioural templates. So we look at what's formed the way they think, the way they do, why that's come up, and what steps that they can take to kind of move past that. So by the time women have finished working with me, they often say that they've just got a clarity that they've never had before. They've got a focus they've never had before. They've got their confidence. Their relationships are better as a result. They're sleeping better. So it's not just the way in which they kind of view and run their business. Their whole immediate world changes because of the way they think and the way that they feel. And everything's just easier for them. They haven't got that resistance.
So people listening, please do comment in the boxes and tell us if this is kind of ringing bells with you. It's certainly ringing bells with me. I mean, I think confidence, even when I think I'm confident, actually hearing what you're saying, the amount of worry before I make any decision, before I do anything, before I send an email, all this kind of backstory in my head, and the anxiety building up in my chest over little things. And actually, it's so true when you speak to, you know, like brothers, husbands, friends. They think you're absolutely insane. You know,
just send an email.
Yet it is a big thing, and I suppose it's all these confidence blocks, you know, built up over many years that are making us feel like this. Yeah. So obviously, your clients will go through kind of an 8-week course with you. If you wanting to kind of do this in your everyday life yourself, I mean, do you do things like things like affirmations? Does that kind of thing work? Or, I mean, what kind of, or is it, I mean, what would you...
If it's something that you want to incorporate into your day-to-day living and you want to create that positive mindset yourself, then the fundamentals are putting yourself in a position where you can learn to think more positively. So, and this is an interesting point as well. Visualization, that the mind can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. So what we think about really shapes our world and the way that we think. So we've got to be very, very careful about how we think. I don't know about you, Kate, but I've certainly been in the position where I've had a cheat dream, and, you know, my partner's cheated on me in my dream, and then I wake up in the morning and I want to kill him.
Yeah.
And that is just such a strong analogy of how the mind can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. Because when you wake up in the morning, you've got daggers ready for you know. And that happens every single day. You know, the way in which we think will determine our physiology and the way that we act in day-to-day life. So if you want to incorporate kind of thinking positively in your day-to-day activities, stuff like journaling is really good. Getting rid of all that negativity, a gratitude sheet or diary, you know, writing down the things that you're grateful for every single morning when you wake up, before you go to bed, and just constantly reinforcing that when you go to bed as well and throughout the day. Because when we're in a space of gratitude, we haven't got room for those negative thoughts because we're thinking of all the positive things.
Raising vibrations and making you feel better. As well, gratitude lists that you can go and look at as well when you're feeling down, you know, and you can read the list and it just lifts you up and think, yeah, these are all the things that I have in my life which are wonderful.
Yeah. And we don't stop to realize just how grateful we should be in life. You know, things always seem a lot worse than what they are. And the truth of the matter is, no matter how hard the situation is at any given time, it's always going to pass. You know, nothing sticks around forever. So it's so crucially important to, I suppose, you know, it's be present, you know, be present in your everyday. You know, when you're going for a walk, take in the scenery, take in the smells, take in the noises. Don't be thinking a million and one things whilst you're in beauty. You know, when you're with your partner, just enjoy that time with him. Don't be on your phone. Don't be, just be present. That's, you know, that's such a key thing, be present. The other thing is positive interaction. We don't realize just how negative we are when we interact with people. Just little things like when someone asks you how you are and you go, yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. How many negative connotations are in that straight away? And you know, we often meet with our friends to just give an absolute download of how crappy our lives are, and, you know, moaning about the boyfriend and what he did or didn't do, and stuff like that. And a lot of our interactions are so negative and we don't even realize it because it's become habitual. So be aware of your interactions, be aware of how you're talking to people, and try and switch the polarity around on that as well. And then the third thing is the activity. Activity is hugely important to creating that flow of happiness. You know, if our cortisol levels are too high, we're putting ourselves in a position where the stress is too much and we're not able to think properly or clearly. And by exercising on a regular basis, doesn't have to be any more than 20 minutes a day, we're naturally going to reduce those cortisol levels, increase serotonin, endorphins, and all of those feel-good chemicals that make us happy, brave, coping individuals. So those kind of three things are crucial: thinking positively, interacting positively, and being active in a positive way. And you can obviously do that by journaling, gratitude, 20 minutes exercise, being present. And then, you know, find something that works for you at night to help you relax. So whether that's a meditation session, whether that's a hypnosis session, whether that's having a nice bath before you go to bed, anything that allows you just to kind of get into that place. Because it's important when we enter into our sleep cycle that we're in our left prefrontal cortex before we go to bed, because if we're not, that's when our brain is unable to process all the information that happens in the day, and that's then when we wake up miserable the next day as well, because we've not given ourselves that reparation time.
You're literally getting out of bed on the wrong side and starting your but actually on the point of kind of like your kind of all this kind of negative self-talk, the other thing I notice so often that women do, someone says, oh, you look lovely, or you look beautiful in this photo, or I like your jeans, and the automatic reaction is, oh, I don't, I look awful, or gosh, I don't, oh gosh, my bum looks so big in these. And it's just this constant, like, we can't talk positively about ourselves, and it does make and the way we think about ourselves and our confidence. If we're currently constantly saying, you know, oh no, I'm looking ugly, I'm looking awful, I'm looking tired, or whatever, I'm looking old, you know, you're telling yourself these stories. Sorry, I'm basically telling you, but you know, do you think that's right?
Absolutely. What we think is what we feel, and we are constantly reinforcing that negative behavior with the way that we view ourselves. And if we're not able to take compliments and we're constantly putting ourselves down, which a lot of us do, we're never going to have that self-worth from an internal level. No matter how many times someone says you look beautiful or you look lovely in that dress, if you don't believe it, then it doesn't matter, because you're just going to constantly bring yourself down and reinforce that negative behavior. So it's so important that you love yourself before that goes any further, because if you don't, you're in a position where you're just unable to be truly fulfilled and truly happy. And that's another thing that I really work with my clients on, is getting them to a point where they really do love themselves inside and out, because that's so crucially important.
So, and that's something that a lot of women have to work on, do you find? Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it is. So, working on the mindset blocks, particularly on confidence, is it basically about that raising your vibrations, and when you feel happier about things, you kind of start moving those blocks, the confidence blocks, out the way, or is there other specific tools on the confidence side that we could be using?
For confidence specifically, obviously, the way, you know, you need to start getting hold of mind management first before you can kind of battle the confidence. But in terms of being able to create, we're not born with confidence. You know, we see a lot of extrovert people and we think, God, I wish I was confident like them. They're not born with it. It's just the way that they do things, and they take action on a day-to-day basis regardless of what their internal thoughts are telling them, which gives the appearance that they are confident. So we can create confidence by really what we focus on. So, you know, if we're focusing on the positives of certain situations, then we're naturally going to create that confidence. Our belief system, what we believe of ourselves and of others, is going to determine how confident we are. So we need to look at, you know, what we can do to change those two things internally. And then also physiology, that is a huge part of confidence. You know, you don't see confident people with their shoulders shrugged, head down, not making eye contact with anyone. You know, confident people are very back straight, shoulders up, direct eye contact, you know, loud in their approach and the way that they, you know, come across. And that's created, you know, so we can instantly create confidence by just changing our posture and our physiology. You know, what our body does will determine how our mind thinks. You know, if we're frowned and we've got a certain facial expression, that will automatically send a signal to the mind to say, you must be stressed about something, something's going on. And you will then start to manifest something that isn't true. So creating confidence can be as simple as putting on a smile, smiling at yourself in the mirror every single day and believing that you are confident, because you need to focus and have the belief systems on the right things. So those three things, you can kind of really create confidence instantly if you need to.
What about visualization? Because you were saying, you know, about the dream and how when your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're imagining. How can people use visualization, for example, to boost confidence? Is it kind of like thinking, I'm feeling really nervous about making this phone call, this sales call or whatever? Do you then imagine that you are picking up the phone, that you're having the conversation, it's going brilliantly and you're saying all the right things? I mean, is it that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, visualization will determine how we think. And if we're in a position where we don't feel confident and we need to call upon that visualization, then it's really important to focus on the end outcome. So rather than focusing kind of on what you're going to do in the call, as an example, the best way to visualize would be how you feel after having made that call. You know, how you're looking, how you're feeling, how proud you are because you've made that call, even though you're in a place where you felt quite kind of nervous or scared about making that call. You know, visualization is so powerful, and again, it's a very big buzzword in the entrepreneurial world, because, you know, what we think, we feel, and what we then do determines the actions that we take. So, you know, if we've got these grand visualizations about how we want our life to be and how we want to be as individuals, then we can kind of open up the doors to start taking action based on those visualizations that we're having. So we've just got to be mindful when we want to attract certain things and we want to attract different things in our lives, to visualize them positively, because the mind can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. So if you're visualizing things positively, you'll start taking the actions that you need to take in order to get the results. But always focus on the outcome. That's the biggest thing with visualization. Focus on the outcome of what you want to achieve, and then you can start taking actionable steps on a day-to-day basis.
But it's something that gets, if you're quite new to mindset, and I don't know how familiar our audience are with, you know, reading up on it, as you say, it is a big thing in the business community at the moment. But I remember when I first started learning about it, it just feels a little bit like, gosh, there's all these things I now need to think about. I need to think about being positive, and I need to stop saying negative things, you know, negative self-talk. But it is something that you start doing naturally, isn't it? It's not something you're having to think about continuously. It's something it becomes as natural as breathing after a while.
Absolutely. Everyone visualizes every single day. They just don't realize what they're visualizing about. So again, it's about becoming present in that moment when you catch yourself visualizing and realizing actually what you're visualizing about. For anyone that's kind of in business, they would have had that visualization at the very beginning that set them on that journey to starting that business. For anyone that's now happily married, they would have had that visualization of meeting the man of their dreams to actually meeting the man of their dreams. So everyone visualizes on a day-to-day basis. It's not something that we need to kind of add to our to-do list. We just need to be mindful and present about the visualizations that we're having and make sure that they are serving us in the best possible way. So every time you catch yourself visualizing, whether it's beating your partner up because he's had a dream sheet, you need to catch those moments and think, whoa, this isn't reality. Let's switch this. I'm in a happy relationship, everything's amazing. Where do I want the relationship to go? How do I visualize that? And taking those steps. So it's an easy process. We do it every single day. We just need to be mindful and present about what we're actually thinking about.
What do you think is the biggest things that hold women back from these positive thoughts? I mean, what are our biggest blocks, do you think?
So I think in terms of the way in which the mind works, it's often too much stress. If we are in a place where we can better manage our stress, we will naturally start to operate from a different part of the brain. That in itself will help the way in which we think. But then it goes a level deeper in terms of what's kind of programmed in our subconscious mind about our beliefs, how we view ourselves, our upbringing, the conditioning, all of those kind of things. So I think that's where they struggle the most, is the overwhelm and stress that we put on ourselves, and then say that again.
So they feel there's not time to start. Well, I can't worry about that as well because they're just feeling so overwhelmed. Yeah. So perhaps the first step before you do anything is to kind of find a way of carving out space, slowing the pace of your life, I suppose, by starting off with maybe a little bit of meditation first thing in the morning. Like, would even 5 minutes work? Or, I mean,
absolutely. Any time. So women generally do not spend enough time on themselves. We try and do absolutely everything, and the person that always comes last is ourselves. We can't give from an empty resource. We need to be in a position where we're looking after ourselves effectively so we can give back. So anything like just taking that time back to do the things that you stopped doing. More often than not, when we're in a place of stress or overwhelm, the very things that used to make us happy are the first things that we stop doing. Whether that's painting our nails, whether that's having a nice hot bubble bath with a glass of wine, whether that's taking the time to do your hair and put some makeup on because it makes you feel good. So it's just about incorporate. It's really, really basic stuff. It doesn't have to be complicated. And everyone, it's a misconception that it needs to be complicated to be the best version of you and happy. Just take it back to basics. Start doing the things that you stopped doing. Start incorporating those times in the day where you are just switching off and unplugging from everyone needing a little bit from you. Because I promise you, if you put yourself in that position where you're giving yourself the time you need, you're so much more productive, so much more confident, and in a place where you're better able to manage day-to-day stresses.
And see, that's the thing. I'm obviously talking to lots of women in my life, sisters and friends and everything. I just don't have the time. I can't do it. I don't fit it in. And that is a real mindset block, thinking that you don't have the time for these things. And one of the things I stopped when I first had my baby, I just do my hair and my makeup, and I just, and it doesn't matter, it's fine. But I didn't feel good about myself. And then my sister actually said to me, who always makes sure that she feels good and looks good in the morning, she said to me, Kate, why aren't you doing this? And when I analysed it, it was 2 minutes in the morning just to do it. But in my head, it had become this massive, I don't have time for any of these things. Yeah. And it's really interesting when you analyse it, actually, this whole concept of time is in your head, isn't it?
Absolutely. Everyone's got 24 hours in the day, and it's how you use those 24 hours that will determine how you live your life. You know, Richard Branson, all the successful super billionaires in the world, they have the exact same amount of time as us, and it's just how you use your time. If you've got that block or limiting belief that you feel that you haven't got enough time, you need to find a way to move past that, because you know, if you put yourself in a position where you set yourself up successfully before the day even begins, your day is going to go a whole different way. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you don't put your makeup on and you don't do your hair and you look back at yourself in the mirror, you don't feel good about yourself. That's not because you're vain. That's because, you know, you're not liking what you're seeing, because you haven't taken time, you haven't proved your self-worth to yourself, because you haven't taken the time for yourself. And that's the message that you're giving yourself, that you're not worthy of anything because you're not even prepared to take the time on you. And that then transpires to everything else throughout your day, the way people talk to you, the way you interact with people, what you do, how you do it. So, you know, it's so crucially important. And taking time for ourselves seems so counterintuitive for the woman that is so unbelievably busy. But you take that time back for yourself, what you are then able to do for the rest of the day is tenfold better than what you would have been able to do had you have not taken that time out in the first place. So it's counterintuitive, but it's just switching that mindset and realizing that it needs to become a non-negotiable, because that is what sets us apart from feeling really crappy about ourselves to actually, you know, conquering the day in the way that we want to.
You have to move mountains. It's so true. It's so true. That's so much fantastic advice there. Thank you so much. I've just seen we've just had Beata's just arrived from Jakarta. Hello.
Wow.
Lovely to see you. So we're going to do a visualization, a guided visualization, and what's the focus going to be on? Is it going to be relaxation or
it's going to kind of be a relaxation and confidence piece?
Brilliant, lovely. So Samantha is going to do this guided visualization. I am going to turn off my video and my audio, and I just want you to all sit back and really enjoy this, and then when we're done I will come back and thank Samantha and sign off. But I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much, Samantha. It's just been so fantastic talking to you. I just love this subject. I could talk about it forever. I'd love to pick your brains more on it. Anyway, I'm going to switch off my audio and video, and really looking forward. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kate. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what I'd like you all to do is just go and find a nice comfortable position if you're not already in one. Perhaps the chair that you're sitting in is fine, or you want to go to the sofa, anywhere that you can feel comfortable. And I'd like you to just gently close your eyes and just start taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just get nicely relaxed and comfortable in the position that you're in, and make any final adjustments that you need to. Now, it's important throughout this process that we get you nicely relaxed. So I'd like you to think about the top of your head. Many people don't realise that tension often starts in the little muscles of the scalp. So I want you to think about those little muscles and the skin of your scalp, and just allow them to let go and relax. All the muscles of your face, just let them go slack. Your forehead and your eyes and eyelids, the cheeks, mouth and jaw muscles. It's a wonderful feeling when you let your face totally relax, because you can actually feel the skin settling, smoothing out. It might mean that your mouth opens slightly, but whatever's best for you, just let it happen. Unclenching your teeth and relaxing your tongue, because the more you physically relax, the more you can mentally relax. Thinking about your neck and shoulder muscles now and into the tops of your arms. Letting all tensions drain away as you think on down through your elbows, into your forearms, down through your wrists, and into your hands. Right the way down into the very tips of your fingers and tips of your thumbs. Just letting all those muscles let go and relax. And now think about your breathing. Noticing that your breathing is even more steadily, even more slowly, as you relax more and more. So you can let any tension in the chest area simply drain away as you think on down to your stomach muscles. Just letting those muscles relax too. And now think down into your back, the long muscles either side of the spine. Just let those muscles relax. And your waist and your main thigh muscles. As you think on down through your knees, down through the shins and calves, just allowing all of those areas to relax and let go. As you think on down through your ankles, through your feet, into the very tips of your toes. All the muscles of your body beautifully relaxed and easy, very lazy. And now you're so beautifully relaxed, nobody wanting anything, nobody expecting anything. I'd like you to imagine as vividly as you can that you're at the top of a beautiful, warm, softly lit staircase with 10 steps to go down, all covered in a beautifully soft carpet in your favourite colour and design, with a wonderfully smooth, hardwood handrail at the side. At the bottom of the staircase is a door, and behind that door is a room. Your own special room where nobody ever goes but you. In a moment or two, I'm going to count all the way down from 10 to 0. And as I count all the way down from 10 down to 0, you can imagine that each number is a step down on this staircase. Another step down into deeper and deeper levels of relaxation, so that by the time I get to 0, you'll be deeply relaxed while still being able to hear and respond to the sound of my voice. 10. Take the first step down now. Plenty of time. No need to hurry. 9. Feeling more and more relaxed, moving down easily. 8. Another step down now into a relaxed calmness. 7. Imagining how it feels as your hand glides down that stair rail. 6. Going deeper now. 5. Feeling more and more relaxed. 4. Deeper still now. 3. Your breathing becoming slower and steadier. 2. A wonderful calmness just sweeping over you. 1. Almost all the way down now. Just one more step to go. And now you find yourself in front of that door to your own special room. Steady it for a moment, noticing the colour and design, looking at the texture and pattern of the handle, and understand that this room is always here for you in your thoughts. You can always find it just by going down that staircase of calmness and relaxation in your mind. Then you open the door and move easily inside the room. It's comfortable and warm inside here and softly lit, furnished exactly as you want it to be to make it absolutely perfect. Make it truly vivid in your mind, catching the smell of it, the feel of it, as well as the way it looks. And in the middle of the room is a comfortable chair a wonderfully luxurious and comfortable chair, and you just dawdle lazily over to it and flop yourself down, enjoying that deep sense of tranquility that sweeps over you as you sink into the cushions. And as you sit there so peacefully, you start to think that one of the most important things in life is confidence. We all need a little confidence from time to time to help us deal with whatever life has in store for us. In fact, some of us may even need more confidence than others. And that's because we've forgotten just how confident we can naturally be. And you know that confidence was always really there in the first place. We just forgot to look in the right place for it. We were looking outside for validation instead of inside. Because confidence is the key to success in our lives. Confidence in our ability to do those things we want to do, those things we need to do, to enable us to achieve any goal or target we set. And you know where that confidence comes from. That's right, it comes from within. There's nothing magical about it, although there are times when that's exactly how it seems to work. And we can access this almost magical feeling of confidence whenever we want, simply by using the power of our mind in a positive and meaningful way. And it's what we tell ourselves that really affects us in our daily lives. What we tell ourselves really does determine how we feel. So, if we tell ourselves that we feel anxious, worried, fed up, then that's exactly how we're going to feel. Whereas if we tell ourselves that we're going to feel calm, relaxed, and in control of ourselves and our lives, then that's how we're going to feel. And it's true, isn't it? What we think and say to ourselves affects the way we feel physically. Those unwanted negative thoughts and feelings generate unwanted emotional and physical responses in our bodies. So what we tell ourselves really does have a tremendous impact on our lives and determines not only how we feel, but ultimately what we can or cannot do. So why not begin by using the power of your mind to tell yourself you can start again? From this very moment, living your life each day in a full and meaningful way, enjoying each and every moment, appreciating the wonder of being alive and well, here and now, realizing that there's no need to worry either about anything that has happened in the past, or maybe more importantly, what might happen in the future, because we both know it may never happen. The past and future are only products of our thoughts, interpreted by what we tell ourselves moment by moment. And as our lives consist of all of these moments, then life can pass us by very easily. So if we spend time using our thoughts to worry about the past or the future, then we become trapped in that cycle of negative thinking. It's so much easier to become involved in the moment, completely involved in the moment, completely involved in everything that's happening around you. And when you do, you'll find it so much easier to remain calm, comfortable, and so relaxed, at peace with yourself and everything around you. Why not tell yourself that each and every day is an opportunity to feel relaxed, confident, and so much more in control of your thoughts and feelings? And this will happen easily and naturally because you choose to feel these things by using the power of your mind. And you'll begin to notice and enjoy the positive changes in your life as you enjoy every day, feeling more alive, more motivated, more confident, and noticing just how good you feel in your body, more energized, more healthy, aware of how easily you now function, both in body and mind. As you now tell yourself each and every day how relaxed and comfortable you feel, growing in confidence more and more, your mind feeling clearer than ever, becoming more focused, seeing any problems for what they are, putting them in perspective and dealing with them so easily, so effectively, and so confidently, that it comes as a pleasant surprise and you begin to wonder why they ever caused you any problems in the first place. And then you realize that it really doesn't matter. Because those things that used to bother you before in the past just don't seem to bother you anymore. Because you know you can just leave them behind in the past, where they will never bother or trouble you again. Because you've learned the key to success in life. And that's confidence. Confidence in your ability to deal with whatever life has in store, day by day, sure in the knowledge that your confidence is building slowly but surely, with every breath you breathe and every word I speak, until you rapidly become that confident, self-assured individual that you always wanted to be, that you are now and will continue to be, today, tomorrow, and every day for the rest of your life. Now what I'd like you to do is just take some nice deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth, breathing in calm and confidence, and breathing out any stress or worries that you have left, and just let them completely go. Become familiar with where you are again and open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you so much, Samantha. That was absolutely fantastic.
That's all right.
I feel so relaxed. I would very much like you to put me to sleep every night, please.
I have my MP3, that's fine.
So did you, because we didn't mention actually, do you have a website or anything that you want to share?
Yeah, can I send it over to people after with then maybe a copy of the MP3 if they're open to it, or do you want me to share it now? What would you prefer?
If you want to share it in the chat box, and then I think that's probably what everybody else is doing.
Okay, lovely. I will do that.
Share it in the chat box, and then everybody. So I feel like I have to be really quiet because I don't want to disturb anybody who's ruin their very chilled moment. If you just pop that into the chat box, because you've got an MP3 on confidence, isn't it?
I mean, my contact details are available on the website, and you can get further information there as well. And then I can send a link to the confidence and stress MP3 specifically to help as well. So I'll speak to Raimonda about the logistics of that, because I'm not sure I can post that in the chat box.
Actually, I'll put it in because you've only put two W's. That's good.
Oh yes, all right.
Just make sure everyone can see. That's perfect. Thank you so much. It's been absolutely lovely chatting with you. So fascinating. If you want to download an MP3 of Samantha for another lovely relaxing confidence building session, there is the link there. We are going to be back in about 5 minutes time. It's going to be Raimonda with Tara Ray Bradford on how to tell your story. So do stay tuned for that, because I think it's going to be another fantastic session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Samantha. It's just been such a pleasure talking with you, and I'm sure everyone's got so much value out of it. Thank you so much anyway. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope you're going to stick around and watch the rest of the sessions today.
It was lovely to speak to you all. Thank you ever so much for your time. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.